Imagine the scene. The roar of the engine is gone, replaced by an eerie silence. You've just crash-landed your plane deep behind enemy lines. You are alone, you are hunted, and the wilderness is your only refuge. Every shadow could hide a threat, and every sound makes your heart pound. In this moment of pure, raw survival, your training is all you have. But you also have something else, something small but incredibly powerful. Strapped to your gear is a simple pouch. It doesn't look like much, but inside is your lifeline. It's a collection of carefully chosen items, each one a ticket to staying alive for another day, another hour. This is your survival kit, the last hope between you and capture. This isn't a Hollywood movie. The gear inside these pouches wasn't shiny or glamorous. It was gritty, practical, and designed for one purpose only: to keep a downed airman alive long enough to escape or be rescued. These kits were the result of hard-earned lessons from the front lines. Every item was selected because someone, somewhere, had desperately needed it, and not had it. The men and women who designed these pouches understood that survival is not about grand gestures. It's about solving a series of small, critical problems: finding water, making fire, navigating terrain, and tending to injuries. The contents were a testament to human ingenuity and the will to live against all odds. The core philosophy behind these kits was brutal efficiency. There was no room for sentiment or unnecessary weight. If an item didn't directly contribute to keeping you warm, hydrated, hidden, or healthy, it was left behind. The pouch itself was often made of durable canvas or rubberized fabric, built to withstand the violence of a crash and the harshness of the elements. It was compact enough to be unobtrusive yet held a universe of potential. For the pilot stranded in the frozen forests of Europe or the dense jungles of the Pacific, opening that pouch was the first step on a long, dangerous journey back to safety. It was a promise of a fighting chance. So, what exactly was inside this remarkable pouch? It was a miniature arsenal for the lone survivor. You'd find tools for creating warmth, for purifying water, and for finding your way in unfamiliar territory. There were medical supplies to patch up wounds and items designed to help you evade the enemy. This wasn't just a collection of gear, it was a system. Each piece was chosen to work with the others, giving the pilot a layered defense against nature and the enemy. Understanding these kits gives us a powerful insight into the mindset of a survivor and the timeless principles of staying alive when everything is stacked against you. When you're stranded, the clock starts ticking immediately. Your two most urgent enemies are dehydration and hypothermia. The designers of these World War II survival kits knew this all too well. That's why every pouch contained reliable methods for creating fire. This was non-negotiable. Fire means warmth, the ability to dry wet clothes, a way to boil water to make it safe, and a tool to cook food. It's also a massive psychological boost, a beacon of light and hope in the darkness. Inside the kit, you wouldn't find a fancy lighter. Instead, you'd find something more dependable: waterproof matches, often sealed in a small metal or plastic case, to ensure they'd strike even after being submerged. Alongside the matches, many kits included a small block of solid fuel. This stuff was incredible. It would burn with a steady, hot flame, even in windy or damp conditions. A pilot could use a small piece to get a fire going with stubborn, wet tinder. Think of it as a guaranteed flame starter. Some pouches also contained a flint and steel, a primitive but incredibly reliable tool that works in any weather. It doesn't run out of fuel and can create a spark thousands of times. The message was clear: you must be able to make a fire. It is one of the fundamental pillars of survival, and these kits provided multiple ways to achieve that, building in redundancy for this critical task. Just as vital as fire was the need for safe drinking water. You can survive for weeks without food, but only a few days without water. Drinking from a contaminated stream or puddle could lead to sickness, which in a survival situation is often a death sentence. To combat this, pilots were given water purification tablets. They were usually halazone or chlorine tablets that would kill the harmful bacteria and viruses lurking in untreated water. They made the water taste a bit funny, but they kept you alive. A small bottle of these tablets could purify many gallons of water, giving a pilot the confidence to drink from natural sources. The kits also included a simple but effective way to carry water. Often this was a rubberized bag or even a simple condom, which is sterile, incredibly strong, and can hold a surprising amount of liquid. It packs down to almost nothing, taking up virtually no space in the pouch. This kind of multi-use thinking is a hallmark of good survival planning. The combination of a container and purification tablets gave a pilot a complete system for hydration. They could find a water source, treat it to make it safe, and carry it with them as they moved. These simple items addressed one of the most basic and urgent human needs. Surviving the elements is only half the battle. For a downed pilot, the ultimate goal was to evade capture and make it back to friendly territory. This meant navigation and stealth were paramount. The survival pouches contained some of the most creative escape and evasion tools ever devised. One of the most famous items was the silk map. Unlike paper maps, which would tear, smudge, and disintegrate when wet, silk maps were incredibly durable. You could soak them, wring them out, and they'd still be perfectly readable. They were also silent. They didn't rustle or make noise when unfolded, a crucial detail when you're hiding from an enemy patrol just yards away. Direction finding was another critical need. Every kit included a compass, but these were often cleverly disguised. A standard military compass might be confiscated if a pilot were captured. To get around this, intelligence agencies designed miniature compasses hidden in everyday objects. You might find one concealed inside a uniform button that could be unscrewed. Others were hidden in the heel of a boot or disguised as a pencil clip. These tiny compasses were magnetized, liquid dampened, and surprisingly accurate. They were a secret advantage, a tool the enemy wouldn't know you had, giving you a chance to navigate by night while your captors assumed you were lost. Beyond maps and compasses, the kits often contained tools to help a pilot break out of confinement. A small, flexible wire saw, known as a giggly saw, was a common item. It could be coiled up to fit in the palm of your hand but was strong enough to cut through wood, rope, and even soft metal bars. It was the perfect tool for a prisoner of war looking to escape a makeshift cell. Some kits also included a small magnet. It could be used to magnetize a needle to create a makeshift compass, or to retrieve a dropped metal key or tool from a hard-to-reach place. These items encouraged a mindset of improvisation and resourcefulness. The theme of secrecy and hidden utility ran through all the evasion gear. The goal was to give the pilot tools that wouldn't be recognized as tools by the enemy. A simple shoelace might be impregnated with a special material that made it incredibly strong and difficult to cut, or it could even be a flexible saw itself. A playing card might have a map hidden between its layers. This level of ingenuity demonstrates a deep understanding of the psychological and practical challenges of escape and evasion. It wasn't just about surviving the wilderness. It was about outsmarting the enemy at every turn, using hidden knowledge and secret tools to turn the tables. Crashing an airplane is a violent event, and injuries were almost guaranteed. Even a minor cut or sprain could become a major liability in a survival situation. The medical components of the pilot's pouch were designed to address immediate, life-threatening injuries and prevent small problems from becoming big ones. These were not comprehensive first aid kits. They were trauma kits, stripped down to the bare essentials for self-treatment in the field. The priority was stopping bleeding and managing pain. Every kit contained sterile wound dressings and bandages to cover cuts and abrasions, protecting them from the dirt and grime of the environment. One of the most important items was a morphine syringe. This was a small, collapsible tube with an attached needle containing a single dose of morphine. Pain can be debilitating. It can cloud your judgment, slow you down, and make it impossible to think clearly. For a pilot with a broken bone or a serious burn, the ability to manage that intense pain was critical for survival. It would allow them to stay focused, make rational decisions, and continue to move towards safety. The inclusion of such a powerful painkiller shows how seriously the designers took the reality of traumatic injury in a combat survival scenario. Infection was another deadly enemy. A small cut that becomes infected can lead to sepsis, which is a killer. To prevent this, the medical kits included antiseptics. This could be in the form of a small bottle of iodine, antiseptic powder, or sulfa powder that could be sprinkled directly into a wound. These substances would kill bacteria and give the body a fighting chance to heal without complications. In the pre-penicillin era, these simple antiseptics were the front line of defense against infection. Keeping a wound clean and treated was just as important as setting a broken bone or stopping the bleeding. The medical supplies also included basics like adhesive tape and perhaps a small razor blade. The tape could be used to secure bandages, repair gear, or close a small wound. The razor blade was a sharp, precise cutting tool, useful for cutting away clothing from a wound, trimming bandages, or even for delicate camp tasks. Every item had to earn its place, and these simple medical supplies were worth their weight in gold. They provided the pilot with the means to patch themselves up, manage pain, and prevent infection, 3 critical steps to staying alive and functional after sustaining an injury far from any medical help. Survival is not just a physical game, it is a mental one. The will to live is the single most important tool you can have. The designers of these kits understood this deeply. They knew that a pilot, alone and afraid, could easily succumb to despair. To combat this, some kits included items that served a psychological purpose. One of the most interesting and overlooked items was a small blank notebook and a pencil. This might seem like a luxury, but its value was immense. It gave the pilot a way to impose order on a chaotic situation. They could draw maps, make notes about their route, or keep a log of their resources. This simple act of writing was a powerful tool for maintaining mental stability. Keeping a journal or a log helps to structure time and gives a sense of purpose. On a day-to-day basis, it could be used to track water sources, food supplies, or the movements of enemy patrols. But on a deeper level, it was a way to fight off the crushing loneliness and fear. Writing down your thoughts and experiences is a way of processing them. It externalizes the fear and helps you feel more in control. For a pilot trying to stay sane while hiding in a ditch for days on end, this small notebook could be a lifeline for their mind. The notebook also served a practical intelligence-gathering role. If a pilot observed enemy troop movements, airfield locations, or other valuable information, they could record it. This transformed their survival mission into an intelligence mission. It gave them a higher purpose beyond just saving themselves. Now, they were not just a survivor, they were an intelligence asset, actively contributing to the war effort, even while stranded. This sense of duty could provide a powerful motivation to keep going, to endure the hardship not just for oneself, but for one's country and comrades. The notebook was a tool for both personal sanity and military purpose. Ultimately, the inclusion of items like a notebook shows a sophisticated understanding of human psychology. Survival experts today will tell you that maintaining a positive mental attitude, PMA, is everything. The gear is important, but it's useless if you give up. The notebook, the pencil, and even the act of studying the silk map were all ways to keep the mind engaged and focused on the goal. It's a lesson in how small routines and a sense of purpose can keep the human spirit from breaking. In the fight for survival, your brain is your primary weapon, and these kits included tools to keep that weapon sharp. The survival pouches of World War II are more than just historical artifacts. They are masterclasses in preparedness. The principles that guided their creation are as relevant today as they were over 80 years ago. The first and most important lesson is the concept of layered, redundant systems. The kits didn't just have one way to make fire, they had several. This idea of having a primary, secondary, and even a tertiary method for every critical need is a cornerstone of modern survival thinking. If your matches get wet, you have the flint. If your compass breaks, you can magnetize a needle. Always have a backup plan. Another timeless lesson is the value of multi-use gear. Every item in that pouch was carefully scrutinized for its versatility. A condom could carry water. A razor blade could be used for first aid or for crafting. This mindset forces you to think creatively and pack smarter. Today, when we choose gear for a hike or a camping trip, we should ask the same questions. Can this item do more than one thing? A simple bandana, for example, can be a bandage, a water filter, a signal flag, or a head covering. The less you carry, the faster and farther you can travel. And multi-use items are the key to packing light and staying effective. The creativity of the escape and evasion tools also teaches us to think outside the box. The hidden compasses and silent maps show that the best tool is sometimes the one that no one else knows you have. In a modern context, this translates to knowledge. Your most powerful survival tool is your brain. Knowing how to find north without a compass, how to identify edible plants, or how to build a shelter from natural materials are skills that weigh nothing and can never be taken from you. The World War II pilots had their secret gear, but their most important asset was their training and their ability to improvise. Finally, these pouches remind us that survival is personal. It starts with a simple question: what do I need to stay alive right here, right now? The contents were not random. They were a direct answer to the threats a pilot would face. For anyone interested in history or the outdoors, studying these kits is a fantastic exercise. Look at each item and ask why it was included. Then, think about your own survival pouch for everyday life. What do you carry in your car or in your backpack for an emergency? Learning from the ingenuity of these World War II kits can help us all be a little more prepared, a little more resilient, and a little more ready for whatever challenges life throws our way.